many of you have ever had poison oak? I assume several of you have. So you know it itches tremendously, and you just don't want to stop due to the relief when you scratch it. Okay, keep that in mind and think of the worst sunburn you've ever had. And imagine it with blisters popping up, like when you go to Point Mallard and you stay too long. Now imagine the blister's still there, that every time you scratch, you want to cry from the horrific pain. But at the same time, you get a great deal of relief, from which you will experience as I have because of shingles. Shingles is sometimes mistaken as poison oak because of the similar looks and symptoms during the earliest stages. But as time passes, you realize it is not your ordinary poison oak. Some of the main points I will be discussing are: what are shingles? How are shingles caused by the disease called vermencell zoster virus, better known to us as chickenpox? And what are the symptoms that will affect you during the process and recovery of the disease? Most of the time, you will receive chickenpox as a child due to your immune system weakness. But once the spell is over with, many people just will go on about their lives, not thinking that the virus could come back and could also make you more prone to other viruses. Shingles is caused by reactivation of chickenpox virus, which infects cells that are adjacent to the spine. When the virus travels, it goes back down the nerves to infect the skin with a painful rash. This normally heals in 10 to 14 days. But the nerve pain can linger for months or years. Unfortunately, there is nothing that prevents shingles, but vaccination has been shown to reduce 51.3%. Adults aged from 60 and older who receive this vaccine can be found in an article called Shingles and Neurotic Pain by Lois Mary. This leads me to believe that many viruses as a child should be monitored more due to the outcome that is caused in the long run from the virus. There's a guy at my church who once had shingles not too long ago, and it actually got on his face and spread over his entire head. He had to shave his head, and he now has nerve damage in both of his eyes and has a lazy eye. And one of, his nose, something to do with the veins in his nose. He can no longer breathe as properly as he used to due to the vaccination. And his hearing as well has been damaged greatly due to the virus. The symptoms I would have to say are the most horrendous due to me being diagnosed with the disease when I was in the 8th grade. It was a painful process that I and my mom couldn't believe was real. For 2 weeks, my mom made me put on poison oak cream and saying it was just poison oak and quit being a baby and scratching it and stop scratching it and it will go away. Only after 2 weeks of me waking up every night crying and getting to the point where I could no longer sleep on my left side finally made me realize to take me to the doctor. Once the doctor told us that I had shingles, my mom was shocked due to the majority of the people who have shingles are way older. I was actually told that if the shingles would have been on my right side, I could have been mistaken it for a heart attack due to the burning, tingling, numbness, or itchiness that comes from the blisters. Several other symptoms also come from shingles that are produced are abdominal pain, diarrhea, chills, fever, swollen glands, and joint pain, headaches, confusion, and drowsiness. Some people even experience optical nerve damage, like my friend from church, which can cause some people to have a droopy eye, such as the guy in my church. This can be discovered once you have read Alive Canada's Natural Health and Wellness magazine written by Harriet Cooper. Many people might not ever believe that they will receive shingles, but due to their miserable effects, they might cause some people to get the shingles vaccine, which is a good idea, according to the health officials. Dr. Grumman said, the treatment of that pain is a good idea, according to the health officials. It is very difficult and could be expensive itself and is not always granted. When the rash is gone, you are left sometimes with possible or severe long-term pain because of the disease affects the nerve roots. Many statements have been made that a majority of the age group between 50 and 60 is the ones who are more likely to receive shingles. My neighbor across the road also received shingles when she was in her late 50s, and it was around her waist. Most of the time shingles can happen just about anywhere. A majority of shingles happens around the waist. But unfortunately, me and the guy like at my church, I had it on my shoulder, and the guy at my church had it on his head. So with the shingles vaccine, can slim, if not get rid of your chances of being at risk of getting shingles. Because after all, once you've had the shingles disease chickenpox has this shingles disease in it. And once you've had chickenpox, more people are triggered by the disease rather than others. So the